Hey everyone, a nerd named Mark here, and it's time to go over episode 6 of King-Ohger. And so the first 5 episodes are over, that which were like the introductory to each of our main characters, the team itself. Like I said, not a big Sentai person. I've watched a few seasons now, and I asked around about like some of the tropes, maybe the pacing, how arcs work, just so I can get a better understanding of Super Sentai and kind of like the consensus and like some of the things, like just so I have an understanding of how like these arcs are going to work and how the show runs from a viewing standpoint. Because like I could Ultraman, and Kamen Rider are different. I can kind of tell with Kamen Rider, okay, this arc is coming to a close because we're X amount of episodes in, and so forth and stuff like that. So I always like to further my knowledge so I don't sound like an idiot when I review these. Uh, the pacing of this episode was really intriguing because like you don't get a chance to digest anything. It's like here's another thing, here's another thing. Like the episode starts off, Gira returns home, Kogane and Boone like they happily greet him, this and that, and then we have a whole bunch of the other citizens approaching, calling him Prince Gira, chanting his name, tossing him up in the air, and then we don't even get like more into that interaction because it's like, oh, the Death Narok are hijacking all the screens and proclaiming they have taken the world hostage, and I'm like, well, how'd they have like how'd they do this? Like, how'd they take over these screen? Like, they have tech now, like they know how to do this, like, and then it's like, boom, next thing you know, uh, one of the cool things is I was wondering how the balance of everyone was going to work now that they don't have their individual episodes. Uh, I'm glad. I'm glad we got more Rita in their little solitude room because Rita's literally just rolling back and forth on the ground and talking to Muffin and about the treasure being stolen, like doubting what to do next. Uh, you know, and that they thought everything was just a legend, like that the treasure was real. This is a real thing, and even the Death and Rock feed pops up on Rita's phone. And from them taking the world hostage, we find out that there's cocoons beneath the ground, and one of them has risen up in Shugodan, and it is also revealed that each cocoon is filled with a Bugnarak that's gaining power and building up their strength, and the whole main goal is, hey, give us Gira, or all five will basically hatch, and your kingdoms are screwed. And I was like, okay, so that's the impeding doom and threat. And so, you know, we get to see Yanma, Dabowski, Himeno, and everything else like say, okay, start searching for these. Let's find these. Let's dig. Let's go. And that's real. If you try and even get these cocoons and like this that, they're gonna just self destruct and cause massive damage. So basically, the only option is to hand over Gira. And I was just like, okay, where they're really making everything revolve around Gira because hey, now that he's royal, he can actually communicate with the Shoe Gods and doesn't technically need the Ohger caliber to control them. And Gira, nice guy Gira, because let's face it, the Tyrant King thing is done to an extent. He's ready to. He's selfless. He's like, he's gonna turn himself in. Yanma stops him, and I'm like, how did Yanma get over there already? Like, he was just in the Kosapa being like, let's find cocoons, and now he's there. And we even find out through this, like, hey, Yanma's just like, they just want your power because you could control the King-Ohger and the Greater Shoe Gods. And even Yanma's sitting here like questioning his allegiance. He's like, are you with the Bugnarok? Or are you on the same side as Rackley's? Like, what is where is your allegiance? And I'm like, okay, because let's face it, they still don't really fully know Gira. I wouldn't fully trust him either. They like, so I get where they're coming from. Gira, of course, denounces both the Bugnarok and Rackley's, and the anime even says like, hey, if you don't man up, like, I'll stop him myself. And I'm like, all right, all right. Um, so I was curious if we are going to return to the plot point from the first episode about the what is it, the Quintet Alliance? I think that's what it's called. And you know, one of the funny things is everyone's there. Uh, Gira walks in and Rackley's is like, "Welcome home." My brother, Prit, like, this, that, and like, Gira doesn't even care. Like, he just goes with it, tries to attack him with the Osier caliber. And I was like, okay, there's some tension there. But the interesting was Rita and Dabowski are the ones that stopped and blocked him from attacking. And then we get the half-assed explanation. Rackley's literally was just like, Kira was kidnapped when he was younger, but they never found him. And if it was known to the public, it would bring dishonor to the Shugodan royal family. So instead, they just decided to cover up his existence and hide it from everyone. And I'm like, how do you hide the existence of a prince being kidnapped? Like, did the people of Shugodan not know he existed? Because usually when a royal family has a kid, like, there's a celebration, this and that. So they were just like, I don't. There's got to be more to this. And he even says, oh, we got to celebrate. It's a miracle Gira's back. And they need to fight the Bugnarok together and bring prosperity to Shugodan. And I'm like, listen, I don't care what Rackley says. He's still a dick, okay? He's dick. He's a dick. He's a dick. But I was just like, Gira's not going to fall for this. And he didn't. He hit him back with his own quote from the first episode. The people are a means, but I am the nation. And then he said, he's like, I'm never going to forget him. And I was like, oh, nice. And so the Quintet Alliance is a thing. We find out from Rita that this is emergency tactics meetings to figure out what they're going to do. My favorite thing of this is the whole time Gira's in handcuffs because he can't keep his composure and be calmer on Rackley's. And we find out through Rita, because now, Rita knew, but not everyone else, that the treasure was taken at Gokon. And by this time, I didn't even notice, because this is my ignorance. Himeno changed her hair. And I was like, what is this golden brown, like, nurse goddess doing on my screen? And I was like, this makes up for the fact that Morphonia is not featured in this episode. But Himeno's there. That's all that matters. Okay? That's all that matters. It is. So obviously this Quintet Alliance is not a thing because Rackley slashes the paper right out of Rita's hand. It says everyone will obey him. And he said he's abandoning the alliance, and the King-Ohger is now Shugodan's property, and if they want to defend their countries, they must swear fealty to him. And he will share the power of the guardian spirits with them. And I was like, there's the dick that we all know. There's Rackley's being Rackley's. All right. Yanma says that he's bluffing, and he can't even control the King-Ohger anyways. And obviously, like, this is the 6th episode where there's been convenient timing of the Bugnarok attacking in Rackley's is just conveniently, like, has either said something or from a plot standpoint. And I'm just like, okay, listen, we know by now something's going on. If something doesn't go on between Dathnarok and Rackley's having some sort of, like, alliance or allegiance, I would be shocked if that's not a plot point at some point. But, like, so everyone tries to use their Ohger calibers to, like, summon their Shu Gods, and nothing happens. And he once again reiterates that he controls King-Ohger now. And I don't know if it's because it's Ohger caliber 0, what the hell that is. But Himeno, she said she'll comply as long as she gets the God Scorpion. Like, she will comply. And once again, we see this whole iteration that Gira is special because he's able to summon his little speeder bike thing by calling out the Kuogan. And he gets rescues and runs out. And even Himeno reiterates what all of us are thinking. Can Gira really just communicate with the Shu Gods like that? Because that's pretty cool. So my thing about this is if Dathnarok had the Scorpion Shu God soul, why would he, like, it this is a stupid thing on my part, because I was like, why would his little commander be walking around with that thing? And then I realized, well, he can't open the soul. He can't summon the scorpion. Because it was very simple. Like, you know, Gira transforms, starts fighting the commander. Then everyone shows up. We get some cool montages of fighting. Um, and listen, the music, the guitar tracks that we're playing, oof, chef's kiss. Love the music in King-Ohger so much. And I did complain about the camera cuts in other episodes, but I think they're growing on me now. I think it's just something I wasn't used to, because even though they did a lot of the same similarities for their fight sequences, I actually really enjoyed it. And there's a whole scene where Himeno actually is fighting the second in command, and I was like, "Ooh, you get him, go Himeno, I believe in you." Like, and Dabowski actually was able to swipe the Scorpion Shoe God's soul from him, and uh, the whole, like, we're getting more Shugon stuff with the citizens, which I really enjoy. This is like what I was hoping to get more from in Shugon, because say with Gokhan and even Tofu, we didn't get a lot of citizen stuff, but like seeing Rackley show up, hyping up everyone, because the town folks are asking for his help. He's like, "I'm gonna save you," and then Dabowski goes to hand Rackley's the Scorpion Soul. Gira takes it, and now, let's face it, to save public face and court of public opinion, Rackley's is literally like, "Gira, you can help me. Let's team up. Let's do this." And Gira even calls out Rackley's. It says he will protect his people and that he's lying. And, when Gira pulls a sword on him, Rackley's says, like, you're making an enemy and you're putting everyone's at risk. And then we kind of get the Tyrant Gira voice. That's why I was like, he's not done. And he even says, "I'm going to seize Shugonon." And the Scorpion Soul awakens. It looks so good. Like, he's like, it says, like, "I'm going to conquer the whole world." And the Scorpion just shows up behind him. I was like, this was badass. And, like, the exosuit changed because he's inside the Scorpion. It was, like, green around it, this and that. And I was like, okay, I like this. This is awesome. And he starts, he just wrecks the large Bugnaroks. And even this whole entire time, we're still building up this Rackley's Gira conflict in front of the public, because Rackley's is now campaigning against Gira. He once again says, "I'm going to protect everyone." And he, with his new King-Ohger caliber thing, he's able to summon, I think it was King-Ohger 0? Like, I don't know. Because that thing just goes and picks up the cocoon, tosses it's nothing, and explodes. And I'm like, I thought if they meddle with any of this, it was just going to explode anyways. Like, why would this cocoon be so weak? So I'm wondering if this was just a ploy all along. Like, that wasn't a real issue or a threat. And Sasserine, which is the Scorpion's name, all of a sudden starts attacking this new King-Ohger without Gira being in control, and it kind of like disperses, and we see a new Kuwagata appear, which is like the Kuwagata 0, I think. I'm gonna learn the names, I swear. But that thing was like black with red and some gold in there, and I was like, this is badass. And even at then, like, the way it ended too, like, Rackley's just being outside the kingdom. It's dark. He has his Ohger caliber 0. He hits a thing, and he just says it's time, and we see this Kuwagata 0 appearing again and flying by, and I'm just like, all right. Visually, this is so appealing of a show. Everything looks so good. It's so clean, and yes, there are some hiccups here and there because it is green screen stuff at the same, but like, I'm intrigued by like all the stuff going on, and like this being very like mecha heavy for a story standpoint. I love that. I'm a big mecha fan. Like I said, I don't know if this is something that's usually a thing in Super Sentai where the mechas are kind of interjected so much in the plot and in the story, but I really dig it. I don't know how much longevity there is to that from a plot standpoint. Obviously, 6 episodes in, I assume this isn't the whole entire story. It's just revolving around Shoe Gods and the Bugnarok. I'm assuming this is just an arc, and there is a more impeding threat going on as well, in the like looming in the darkness, so to speak. But I've really enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the episode. I do have some King-Ohger toys coming in before the month is over, so I'm really excited to get those in, especially the mini Plaws. Like, that's main, like, I can't wait. But I thank you guys for watching. Don't forget the subscribe button. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.